and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And it was a really triggering moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed. And it was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue. So it was a really scary moment in my life to figure that out. But it also helped me process that he was going through so much.
It's a lack of cultural competency I can't even wrap my head around. I understand people have to grieve how they grieve, but why tarnish that man's reputation? Because, so remember, when you're white and you die of an addiction, you were sick. When you're black, it's because you're an addict. So I was already bad about this and I was taking it from a racial perspective. Then I saw that Twitch's family also felt a way about the way this went down. That Twitch's family, the black side, has been basically shut out, forced to sign NDAs just to go to the funeral and not allowed to see the kids. Those black children that she had with him? And this is why it's really important to remember that even if you are a white person in a relationship with a black person, it does not absolve you of the fact that you've been trained and conditioned in the white supremacy, and given the chance, oftentimes you will revert back to it.
Concept of having to sign a piece of paper in order to see my cousin, whom I loved and valued. And so that was very difficult. But the entire time that we were asked to sign that NDA, the rhetoric was that we were doing so to protect his legacy.
Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of Viral. I'm your host as always, Kid Dixon. Glad you join us here on Viral to talk about Stephen Twitch Boss' wife has spoke out in People magazine about Twitch's drug use and his mental illness. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag ViralHillConnect. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. Here on Viral, we talk about Twitch Stephen Boss, what an impact Twitch Stephen Boss had. Twitch Stephen Boss was featured on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and So You Think You Can Dance. But due to his untimely passing, nearly a couple of years ago, due to him with the S word, Twitch now wife has kind of opened a can of worms that Twitch's family and fans are not happy with and disagreeing with. Let's get to the latest on what Twitch's wife has said to People magazine in this exclusive interview.
With an ex that had addiction problems, and then I realized Stephen had addiction problems, and it's something that I kind of have been like, where was I involved in this? And I had to take some steps for myself to realize, like, I was able to help one, and I wish I could have been that for the other. But it's also not my job to do that. There was a moment I was with one of my really dear friends, and we were cleaning out the closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And it was a really triggering moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed. And it was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue. So it was a really scary moment in my life to figure that out. But it also helped me process that he was going through so much. And he was hiding so much, and there must have been a lot of shame in that. And he was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all those feelings because he didn't want to put it on anyone. Because he loved everyone so much. He didn't want other people to take on his pain.
As you saw right there, Twitch's wife trying to open up a can of worms by bringing up his mental health illness and saying that Twitch was on drugs and he was hiding his pain. I don't, some people is good at that, masking and stuff, but at the end of the day, we just don't know what people are going through. And hopefully, this is just a spoke on the wheel, but Twitch's wife had caused an uproar. Even his own family came to defense. A family member came to defense and said this.
Say something. And the last time that I recorded, I pretty much was talking about the NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and how we were asked to sign it in order to see Stephen or memorialize him at his funeral. And I'll be honest, I'm not a celebrity. It was very difficult to navigate the whole concept of having to sign a piece of paper in order to see my cousin whom I loved and valued. And so that was very difficult. But the entire time that we were asked to sign that NDA, the rhetoric was that we were doing so to protect his legacy. And
yeah, Twitch family members are coming out the blue, defending Twitch, saying that Twitch wasn't like that and she's just trying to sell a book to get some momentum gain. Even to the fact that the red flags are there. She even doesn't care his last name no more. She moved on quickly to a Caucasian man. So Twitch's wife is moving in places that many people are not happy about. Well, let's hear what you people had to say. You people had a lot to say on what Twitch's wife was doing, this exclusive interview with People Magazine. Let's hear right now on what the people say.
My first follow on TikTok was Steven Twitch Boss. That man and his dancing and him and his wife dancing got me through the first part of the pandemic. I used to imitate their dances and send them to the students at my school as a part of a program that we had put together to keep students engaged during distance learning. And I remember when he passed. And I don't usually cry when celebrities pass, but I cried that day. And I remember the collective of people online, and very specifically Black folks, came together and we were like, Allison, we got you. We got your back, girl. You're going to get through this. And I remember when she started coming outside more often, I said to my sister, like, yo, she's going to pop back out with her white man. And jokingly, like, because she can be like, I ain't going to deal with one of y'all niggers again. And when she popped out with the white guy, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then I saw this headline and I was like, oh, you've fully gone white on this. Because the idea of getting out there and talking about the supposed addiction of your deceased husband is a lack of cultural competency I can't even wrap my head around. I understand people have to grieve how they grieve, but why tarnish that man's reputation? Because, let's remember, when you're white and you die of an addiction, you were sick. When you're Black, it's because you're an addict. So I was already bad about this and I was taking it from a racial perspective. Then I saw that Twitch's family also felt a way about the way this went down. That Twitch's family, the Black side, has been basically shut out, forced to sign NDAs just to go to the funeral and not allowed to see the kids. Those Black children that she had with him? And this is why it's really important to remember that even if you are a white person in a relationship with a Black person, it does not absolve you of the fact that you've been trained and conditioned into white supremacy, and given the chance, oftentimes you will revert back to it. And I'm saying this in the context of being a Black person in relationship with a white person who I would check in this situation. And who honestly, at times, I just test just to see if she understands the impact of being Black on certain situations that'll happen. And that's just the price of admission. You don't just get to be with me and not experience what it feels like to have to live in this world Black. Like, that's what it is. And so I think the reality of what's happening, there's absolutely a racial component. And there's a part of it that's just frustrating because our memory of him collectively is of this happy man who ended up losing his battle to his inner demons. Why did you have to broadcast those demons to the world and then run and tell people about it? Especially considering the group of people, Black folks, who so outwardly and vocally supported you. It's really sad. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. My first follow on
the interview with Twitch's wife and People's Magazine. Ma'am, what was the real use of that interview? Did we, the world, need to know that he had those problems? Did you do it for you, your children, or for material gain? Because you didn't do it for Twitch or his legacy. Did you think about your children and what effect it would have on them? For those that say that the interview will help in some way with addiction and such, in what way? Because I don't see it.
Of ADHD, okay? Wish me luck. However, before I do that, because there's always something to do before that, I want to talk briefly about the Twitch situation, as well as his wife, who made the realization to present the article for People. If you haven't read it, take some time out to read it. I have a couple of observations. I just want to skate back to say that Twitch's cousin, who signed an NDA, because Allison made the entire family and everyone in their circle sign NDAs prior to the funeral, maybe around that time, or post his death. She said she didn't care about the NDA, but apparently Allison has kept the kids away from them, has made it very difficult for them to kind of be around the kids or see the kids and things like that, and that she buffed up the story to make it seem plausible and beneficial for her. Allison also said that he had a drug problem, and I was like, oh no. And when she said marijuana, I was like, and I mean, people can be addicted to marijuana, don't get it twisted. Like, there could be a severe addiction to marijuana, but the way that the article was presented, that first image, he struggled with addiction and drug use, and I was just like, oh no. And then you go in and you realize that, not saying that it's not a lot, because alcoholism and marijuana use can be an addiction. I just I don't know. The reality is that Twitch is not here to tell his story. He's not here to talk about the pain, and he's not here to talk about what he was going through. So for her to choose this way to carry on his legacy and talk about it, it's not sitting well with me. His children will have that imprint on the internet for their entire lives, right? I was expecting her article to be about how she's processing her grief, how she's moving on, with his legacy. And that's not what it was. And I'm very disappointed in her. And I feel like a lot of people failed him, her included. There's so much more I want to say. If y'all want to hear me say some more, let me know. But I'm going to just stop it right here. Friend, pick up the phone. Good morning.
Of the late Twitch, who took his own life, is now on a press tour to promote a book that she wrote, which includes his journal entries that he left behind, information about an alleged drug addiction that he had, a bunch of information that nobody asked her for and should have stayed where it was because it's going to tarnish his name and his legacy. What I have to say about this is, right now, his family is coming out and saying a lot of, bad things about her. And it's all stuff that happened, while they were together, also happened right immediately after he passed away. My message to in-laws is y'all need to start calling people out during a relationship. Don't wait until your brother, your son, whoever is gone to start holding their spouse responsible for the bad things that you've seen them do to your person. Call them out. Do not wait until the person is dead and gone and for them to do something like this to try to call them out publicly. It's going to be too late. You have to call people out on their BS while they are still doing it so that they can stop. Allison, the widow.
You people are not happy about that, but Twitch's wife trying to do material gain to sell a book to put and exploit Twitch, and not doing it for the best interest like her kids and everybody else. Even to the fact that Twitch's kids hasn't seen their folks in quite some time, and now they're blaming her for the split, the divide. So hopefully she's not doing this just for the heck of it, just to sell a book. So we have to wait and see on that. But thank you for watching this edition of I've been your host, Kendrick Dick, saying so long, and we'll see you next time for another edition of Vow.
I don't have the perfect words to say about this at all. I feel like we've been speaking for a while, trying to find the perfect words to say to, prove that our lives mean something. But there's I do see that there's like a huge support from allies of various colors and backgrounds and things like that. So So yeah, and that also too, I wanted to address that too. Somebody just wrote, there are not the right words, you just speak from the heart, and you're right. But, when doing that, I think sometimes on social media, people get really offended if you don't say the right thing. And obviously because everybody's, really tense and sensitive, but I think we just sometimes got to be a little more patient with each other. Listen, I don't